When I was 16, I secretly joined Grindr, even though you had to be 18. And eventually, I agreed to meet a guy in his 30s at the train station. And what made it even weirder was when we arrived at the hotel, he told reception I was his relative. And honestly, the whole thing was awkward from start to finish. Welcome to another episode of Gay Talk. Welcome to Gay Talk. Yes! I joined Grindr when I was 16 years old. Now, in the UK, at the age of 16, you're classed as a young adult. So at that age, you can give consent, you can have sex, you can get married, you can have kids, you can buy lottery tickets, but you can't go to the shop and you cannot buy alcohol or you cannot buy cigarettes. So that's sort of the restrictions. So at 16 years old, I thought, well, I'm at the age where I can consent to have sex. So do you know what? It must be an American rule that you have to be 18 to join Grindr. Screw it. I'm going to say that I'm 18 and I'm going to join Grindr. At 16, you're curious. What can I say? When I was around about 15, that's when I started wanting intimacy more than I've ever wanted it my whole life. I had this one thought in my mind of the one intimate act that I wanted to do. I don't know if that's normal or not, but that's how I felt. And the urge and the impulse was so strong that I wanted to meet someone. I wanted to experience it, if that makes sense. It was something that I had thought long and hard about, and it just had to be done. I could no longer resist this urge I had to try this one thing. After all, this one thing had been in my head for over a year, and I'd been imagining it for so long. But I wanted to do it in a way that I wouldn't have to join dating apps. And for me, that was impossible. At high school, I was bullied pretty badly, and there's not a single person at high school I told I was gay because I was already being bullied. And if I then came out the closet and told everyone I was gay, you can only imagine the type of bullying I would have had. I hid my sexuality throughout high school, so that was a no go, and there was no way that I could even try and speak to anyone that I thought was gay for fear that that was going to come back and get me bullied. So the only choice I had was to go on Grinder. Now, Grinder for me wasn't a bad move. I'm probably one of the shyest guys that any of you would ever meet, and I guess I'm a bit hard on myself. I'm scared that if I meet a guy in person, they're going to think my conversations are dry. They're going to think I look different to how I present myself on pictures on my profiles like Facebook or Snapchat or whatnot. And I guess I'm always scared of rejection. So my confidence in person is way down here, and my confidence online is way up here. Because the worst that can happen online is someone blocks you and you continue with your day. There's not really that much is going to weigh you down. Whereas in person, you're going to have that awkwardness. You're going to have the person walking out. I don't know. I might overthink things, but for me, going on a grinder would give me more confidence. So 16-year-old Brandon downloaded Grinder and had been browsing the platform for 24 hours. Now, I got a like slash tap from this blank profile. The guy was 32 years old and his title was basically traveling for work. Now, for me, this was absolutely ideal as I didn't want to meet someone from my city because I was scared of being outed. I was still in college. I didn't want anyone to know. So I was invested in this guy. So we started talking and we start sexting, right? There you are. I'm not going to hide it from you. We start sexting straight away. We're exchanging pictures, and I'm like, this guy is fit. He doesn't live in my city, which is a plus. So we ticked that off the list. He wasn't too old. So I kind of viewed it as he would be able to teach me some things. So that was a tick. So, like I had mentioned earlier in the video, I'd wanted to do this one specific intimate act, and it had been in my mind for over a year. By this point, the chat between me and this guy is going so well. We've exchanged several face pictures with each other, so I could see what he looked like on his worst hair day, and he could see what I look like on my worst hair day. And I guess we started sending pictures of each other's salamis. Now, I could work with his; it wasn't bad, so I wasn't complaining in that department. So I think at that point we decided that we were going to meet. And in my head, I knew that I wanted to try this one specific act really badly, so I was going to meet this guy. Now, like I said, I'm quite shy, so I pushed myself out my comfort zone to make this happen. So now that both of us 100% knew we wanted to meet each other, we now had to plan whereabouts we were going to meet. Now, somewhere during that day, he asked me outright, "What age are you?" Because I know you're not 18. And at that point, I just told him straight, I'm 16 years old, I'm mature for my age, and at the end of the day, we're going to be two consenting adults. Now, he was kind and caring because he wanted to ensure that I was happy with the age gap. Obviously, he's 32 at that point, I'm 16 at that point. So he wanted to 100% make sure I was okay with that. And like I said to you guys earlier on, he's 32, he's probably more experienced and can show me the ropes as it was one of my first meets. So, more than happy with that. So, we planned that we're going to meet each other at the railway station, and he said that he'll pay for the taxi out to his hotel, as at that age, I'm not working and I obviously don't drive. So we had planned that we were going to meet at the train station, we were going to jump in a taxi together, and we were going to go to his hotel as he was in my city on business. At the time, I was acting calm in messages, but in real life, I was absolutely shitting myself that I was about to meet someone. So anyway, me being that little shy 16-year-old, I head on up to the railway station and I arrive where he says he's going to meet me. And I don't see him anywhere. I'm looking around and I cannot see him. He took a picture of himself in his clothing so I could easily identify and walk up to him and, greet him or whatever. So we were safe on that side of things, but he was nowhere to be seen. I texted him on Grindr and says, "I'm standing outside the railway station right now. Where are you?" And he was actually in the pub having a quick pint because he had got there before me. He had obviously got off the train into my city and he had about 20 minutes to kill before I got there. So he was in the pub having a pint. So when he came outside, it was a bit awkward. He says, "Hi there, are you ready?" or whatever. And then we got in the taxi. So it wasn't really full of conversation, if that makes sense. It was more awkward, but I think he was shy and didn't know what to say, and I was also shy and didn't want to come up with a conversation because if I came up with a conversation that wasn't good, I didn't want to put him off, and at the same time, I didn't want him thinking that my banter or my conversations are dry. So it was quite a awkward taxi ride to his hotel. We both sit in the back of the car. We're both sitting next to each other, and in my head, I'm looking forward, knowing that I'm gonna go and get to do this one thing I've like wanted to do for the last sort of year, and at the same time, I'm nervous. But like I said, he's 32, he's got experience, so I kind of just thought when we get in the hotel room, we'll probably start speaking to each other more, and we'll be able to just unwind if that makes any sense. So whilst we're in the taxi, I get a first impression of him now. He doesn't look exactly like he did in the Grinder pictures that we had sent back and forth to each other. He looked a bit older and he was wearing glasses. So I was unprepared for him to wear glasses. And I guess I pictured him looking somewhat younger, but it didn't put me off or anything. I still thought he was quite handsome. I like guys in blue jeans. I like guys with sort of brown shoes on. It's weird things, right? But he had all these different things. So for me, I was like, damn, like this is good. Like suit shoes, do you know those big shit kickers that I call them? Like he had those on with his blue trousers. It was proper good looking, and my heart was melting, and I went pitying. But yeah, no, he was totally my style, and yeah, first impressions were overall good. So we arrive at the hotel in the taxi, and true to his word, he whips out his wallet and hands the taxi driver a £20 note and tells him to keep the change. And he says to me, "Don't worry about it, I've got it all covered." So at that point, my heart was melted. Like he was looking after me essentially. He was making sure that I didn't have anything to worry about. Now, he does start easing up at that point, and we walk into the hotel. And as we get to the reception desk, he says, "Me and my nephew are here to check in." I'm like, "Damn, what? I'm your nephew now? Where's that came from?" Don't know why he said that, but yeah. And the woman just goes, "There's the hotel key," and told us what floor we were on. And at that point, I'm like, what is going on? Like a thousand things going through my head. Like, why has he just said that? So anyway, we've cleared reception, we've got the room key, and we are heading on up to our room. At that point, I'm getting excited. Like, I'm like, damn, there's no obstacle now. It's us, hotel room, and then Browntown. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was so excited at this point. I was starting to ease up myself. But the thing is, in situations like that, I can't take the lead or I can't take control. So I'm still nervous to him, like I appear nervous. And as we're going up the stairs, he holds my hand and we then go into the hotel room. So we go into the hotel room, and I go and sit on the bed straight away because I'm nervous and it's still a bit awkward. We're not talking much, we're saying the odd thing to each other, and it just feels strange. Like, you look forward to it so much, and when you're in the situation, you're like, I just want to get started. You know what I mean? Like, I'm this nervous. I don't want him to regret meeting me or potentially make me go home or whatever. You just want to get into the action. So I'm sitting on the edge of the bed and I'm just hoping that he's going to come across. It's going to become less awkward and we're going to get straight to work. So something overcomes me anyway at some point, and I think the only way to get over my nerves would be, instead of sitting on the bed, just lie back and look at the roof. That way I'm not seeing anything around me. I'm just laying down and waiting for him to come across. And it was at that moment in time that he started getting changed. He put some shorts on, he put his football top on, and he got out of his work clothes. He put his work laptop down, and then he came across to the bed and sat down next to me. And at that moment in time, all the awkwardness was gone. We started talking, and he was reassuring. Do you know what I mean? He was asking me again, like he'd already asked me like 2 or 3 times, "Are you happy to do this? Are you happy with the age gap and all that stuff?" And I felt so full of joy. My heart felt full. It's like, this is the first guy that's actually cared about me genuinely. So I was in such a happy place at that point. And one thing led to another, and we just started making out. And yes, it was the best making out I've ever done, even to this day. And I know what a lot of you are thinking. Did I get to do that one thing that I had been dreaming about for the past year? Yes, I did. Was it good? It was better than I could have ever imagined. With age, him being 32, he had the experience to show me how things were done. And he taught me things that I will never forget. Looking back now, I think what made it less terrifying was he realized how inexperienced and nervous I truly was, and he took control of that situation. And I guess by him taking control of that situation, I discovered something about myself and stuff that I like. Looking back, I probably shouldn't have had as much nerves as I had, but I think nerves are normal for all of us anyway, so I'm not going to beat myself up too much regarding that. It was genuinely one of the best meets I've ever had, and like I just said at the end of the last clip, it's opened up other things that I'm into, which I'll be doing more videos on, so you definitely want to subscribe because you don't want to miss out on all those videos. I just need to be careful with the type of things I say on YouTube. So if I'm not going into detail, it's because I'm following YouTube's guidelines. So please forgive me for that. Comment below if you guys would like to see me start a blog where I openly talk about things without a filter. There's plenty of platforms I can do that on. So if that's something that you'd be interested in, definitely comment that below this video, guys. But if you do want to see more videos, guys, there's plenty more story times coming. Like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends. And finally, thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for all the support on the last video. We've got 11,000 views in 24 hours on that. That is insane. And we've gained 500 subscribers from that one video alone. So genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all your support. And I'll see you in the next video.